So the Taffys are built on this carry the ball to the side, sidestepping motion. So the bottom part is all going to be exactly the same. You just do a slight side step movement. As you do weight transfer from one side to the other, your feet stay solidly on the ground on both sides. So there's no lifting, for example, of the outside of your foot. And of course, on top of that, there's this slight turning that happens with your pelvis. That has just a bit of a more complex kind of extending and flexing that happens in your lower back. So all of that is exactly there as it has been. But instead of moving across with our hands holding that Nerf energy ball, what we're going to do instead is we're going to do kind of a classic kind of Tai Chi and martial arts movement, which is to bring your hands together into this kind of motion. And this is as if you had like a cat or some small animal in your hand and you were going to stroke over it. Just like in the wind-up for the carry the ball to the side, in this wind-up, your leading hand, so the left foot hand, is going to come into the wind-up. So you're coming across to the right side, but you can see how that left hand is sweeping across, and it comes in underneath. And then the right one is just coming and resting over. This is going to be the stroking hand. So as you're winding up, instead of coming way up here, this hand is coming up parallel to the ground. And this is you might call it a much gentler kind of wind-up. And so let's just get the feel of that first of all. If we just come from your starting place and then start to wind up and sweep into the wind-up with what you could call the backhand, like the hand that's going to bring you across to the wind-up. Okay? And you can even come across a little bit further to the other side and just kind of get that feeling of sweeping across. We're going to do this in other movements after the Taffys as well, but there's just that sense that your hand sweeps across in the direction that you're winding up, the other hand comes on top. And once you get this, almost everything else about the Taffys is going to come with you. This is like the setup for it. Now, as you come across, that sweeping hand is going to do this sort of active thing of turning outward as if you were serving or opening in the direction that you're turning. Okay, so the hand is going to, and you're just swiveling at the shoulder. So once again, the arm doesn't reach out. It's just like this kind of movement, that kind of, as you come across with the weight transfer, it's turning outward as well. So that by the time you finish, if from sideways, it's going to look like this. I've wound up, and I come across, and you can see how the hand is slowly turning, and my body's slightly turning with it. And the flexibility in your shoulder is going to vary differently. Some of you may be able to go further than mine, but whatever feels comfortable with just kind of letting your hand come out to eventual stopping point somewhere around here, that goes with you turning outward. So let's look at that from the front again. The wind-up or sweeping across as you come across to the right, stepping out with your left foot, and then as you come across, that leading hand, that left hand, leads you as your whole torso turns with it. So that's the basic movement that's happening with sort of the left hand, of winding up and then sweeping across. So what happens with this right hand? So as it comes and rests over top, the stroking that I was talking about initially goes something like this. As that left hand starts to come out and across, you can see how that right hand just gently drags across it as if you were trying to find a bit of static electricity across the top of that left arm. And then as it gets left behind, because there's only so far that, they're separating out, right? So as you go across about middle, so I'm coming across here, as I come across about middle, somewhat equal weight on both sides, it continues down, and here's where you come down through the heel of your hand and feel like you're just gently getting a sense of connection down the outside of your leg. So it's a lovely way, for example, if you ever have a feel of that this foot likes to come up, it's a really lovely way of kind of getting a sense of lengthening down through the outside of your leg by this kind of connection down through your hand. So there's like this whole connection down through the hand, down through the outside of the leg, and letting this foot really help it stay anchored as you come across. So it's not a real tight, strong movement, just as nothing is in Tai Chi movements. It's just like a gentle, intentional kind of connection down through your hand, down through the outside of the leg, while this left hand is coming across and doing all this action. This is stabilizing you and making sure that as all your weight comes across to the left, you're not kind of lifting out of this side. This hand, this right hand, is kind of keeping you stable down on this side. So let's try that again. So first of all, I'm stepping out, and as I'm stepping out, I'm settling into my right leg. So I'm stepping out with my left, which means now my weight is on the right leg. Here comes the wind up. I'm sweeping across with that left hand to help get me all over top. The right hand comes underneath. As I come across, that left hand turns outward, outward, outwards, kind of serving or opening toward the left, and this right hand comes down and anchors down the outside of the right side. Okay. So now I'm going to put this together as what this looks like as a foundation Taffy. So those are like basic movements. This is what the foundation Taffy actually does, is turn, step across, close. Turn, step across, close. Here goes the second time. So this is like a set, right? We go one direction and close and back. And if some of you are getting muddled already, don't worry, I'm going to come back and unpack it again. And one last time of 3. So cross the third time, close just briefly, and come back across. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like, is just going back and forth 3 times, and you just kind of do that kind of sinking, coming across. So it really gives you a chance to get the feel of how to start into this each time by giving just this brief close that just flows into the next movement. And so that's the last piece of this, is just to give yourself just a briefest, not even a pause in that, just the briefest coming into the close and then coming across.